There is a sign-in sheet passing around, so if you could sign in, I'd appreciate it. We got some new faces here today, so I think we will get started with, go through the table just to introduce. So if we could start at the end.
Good morning. Jean Marie Middleton, Office of General Counsel.
Good morning, Erica Rieger, Chief of Human Resources.
Good morning, Ed Tierney, Deputy Superintendent, Chief of Schools.
Good morning, Mark Mitchell, Director, HR.
Good morning, Kevin McCormick, Director, Exceptional Student Education.
Heather Frederick, Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning, Manager of Labor Relations, Jermaine English.
Morning, Tim Kubrick, Director, Labor Relations.
Good morning, Retha Prescott, Atlantic High School teacher.
Good morning, Hazel McFarland, Boynton Beach High School.
Good morning, Jeff Levinson, John I. Leonard High School.
Bill Rizzo, Polo Park Middle School.
Patty H. Savers, Lake Park Elementary.
It's on mute. But
You heard us anyway, right?
Teacher voice.
Angelina Galesi-Schmid, CTA staff.
Justin Katz, CTA President.
Theo Harris, CTA Executive Director.
Randall Audie, CTA. Gordon Longhofer, CTA Vice President, Pahokee Middle High School.
right, thank you. So after our last session, we did go back and make some further adjustments to the articles that we brought forward, and I thought rather than making new copies every single time and passing out, we go through. I made some copies for you all, and but ultimately I think we can just go through this, and it helps those who are joining us online view it as well as we go through it. So let me make it. I'm looking up online to see what it looks like to them. So that looks good. All right, so I'll work through these, and then we'll turn it over to you to, you can see what we cleaned up, and then I'll turn it over to you guys to go through yours.
Well, I figured that,
you like.
As you go through,
Okay.
then if we have anything to speak about, we will.
Sure.
So that once we go through them, we shouldn't have to go back over them again.
Right, okay, sounds good. So the first one, let's see. First one, there are no changes to. It was just,
Well,
for us, it was changing new, striking new, in the event they were at the same school.
okay, we thought about current, but I guess if you strike out new, that may do the same thing.
We are totally fine with current.
So that'll do the same thing.
We wrote that on our notes too.
All right.
It really, I think it means the same thing. It was just, in the event that it's not new, so
Right.
we're good with current.
Yeah.
All right. Oop, it's a little fast. The next was just a spacing typo, agreement, moving it, so it's actually one word. A lot of this, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is really a lot of cleanup. We combed through it to see what maybe hadn't been noticed in previous rounds. So again, here, there's two items: non-appealable decision, just some spacing, employees may. So you could see the corrected version there. The next was a strike through that was previously made, but it was still left in there, so walk-in visitors instead of walk-ins visitors. The next was, all right, so our request was to make a change from 2 years to 1 year of consecutive successful experience with the district before getting into job sharing, and also increasing it from 1% to 5%. So one of the things that we didn't have last time was the 1 here crossed out and have 5. So we made that correction. We also, on this topic, we did provide the numbers of job sharing. They aren't significant. I believe they were somewhere around 30 or less, I think, right? But it's really just in case, and I don't want us to ever get to that point. And I feel it's beneficial to everybody if that's the course they want to take. On this, from team, we're looking to basically define what team meant there and change it teachers and administration. So no change was made there. Here, formatting, the spacing is kind of funky. That's how it looked in the contract, so we changed that. But also, Randall, we added semester from your recommendation. So we added semester. It said, because before it said end of a, end of a at the secondary school. So now it says end of a semester at a secondary school, or the end of a trimester at an elementary school. The next was just basically trying to clean up the sentence. The wording of it was a little off, and we felt that we could make it much clearer to say some extra duty days may be scheduled immediately before the regular school year begins or immediately after the regular school year ends for the employee. So just very clear. That's what it was trying to say in the sentence above, but as you can see, it's it just didn't flow right. So just some cleanup. The next was some numbering, lettering changes. So it went from A to H to I to J. So we just cleaned it up to say A, B, C, D. That's it. Thank you, Randall. Compensatory time. So during, I'd like to clarify a couple things as it relates to comp time and from last session. So in our opinion, as it stands with the current language, compensatory time, does have a value of approximately $292 a day, right? I've heard the talk of what, the value is perceived to be, but based on an average daily rate, that's what it would be for the average salary, $292 a day. The common usage on teacher duty days. So for secondary schools, that's 4 days a year, which means it's approximately $1,170 for those 4 days. If used at elementary schools, 3 days, $877 on average. So I just wanted to make sure I clarify that. Our interest in bringing this forward really was to increase the existing value of compensatory time by just adding more days or times it can be used, such as the final hour, half hour of a day at the elementary level, or times when students and/or duties are not assigned at secondary levels. Since comp time does not carry over to the next year, the more limitations we have on it, obviously we could see that, the less valuable it becomes, right, when you have so many limitations on it. So once you reach a certain number of hours, the value does sort of get contained, right? And, we're looking to increase that. So I think there are many different approaches on how principals use this and different levels of needs throughout the schools. But for this item, what I feel is the best way to approach it really is to withdraw this and reconnect following our negotiations on an MOU to find a way to really write this up into what we really want it to say and how we want it to be able to be used in an MOU before we write it in a contract. So we have every intention of making this work and increasing the amount of opportunities for teachers to use it when they earn it. That is the goal, and this was, remember, our proposal that we wanted to bring forward. So it's not as though we don't want this. It's just we want to make sure that it's very clear, captures everything it needs to capture before we get it into contract, and we think we could do that through an MOU.
We'd certainly be happy to continue this discussion. I know we brought up comp time a number of years ago, and previous individuals kind of approached it with a don't ask, don't tell type, belief that we wouldn't dive into this because we don't know where it will lead. this was, I can tell you from a survey we sent out a couple weeks ago, one of the top responses from the 1,000+ members who responded, that something to do with comp time. To your point that comp time has value if it's redeemable. If you have so much comp time that it's not redeemable and it expires and has no cash value, then it is worthless. Teachers want to make sure, per what you guys are aiming for, that they have every opportunity while still performing their duties to use it. So yeah, we would love a more expansive conversation, not just about making sure that principals entertain using it or allowing people to use it when they have planning or when they have things before and after their students arrive, but an even more robust conversation, I think, is what the teachers have asked us to go for, so yes.
Yeah, and we are fully on board with that.
Right, and you can see from one of the items we are putting forth that the end of daytime, beginning time, those are things that we're concerned about. So it is an important issue to us, and we would like to work on, discussions to try and improve how that time can be best utilized.
Right. Okay.
So thank you.
All right. Next item, spacing, covering another employee's assignment. It was just in the title on the page. Here we've got weekend 2, no earlier, absent on, all just spacing corrections. Here, 5 more spacing corrections. So, and some of it, who knows, when you T8 it, it probably looked right, but once you throw it into these documents that are copied over year after year after year, it becomes real tricky, so.
And that's just a point to clarify for people, that it wasn't as though people typed this, as when files keep getting converted back and forth, that the spacing changes, so it's not.
It wasn't, these weren't errors necessarily by previous teams or anything like that. It's just, hey, we noticed it in the published contract right now. This is what it looks like, and we're gonna make sure it's cleaned up.
Yeah, when you change from PDF to
Right,
Word
to Word.
version, those kind of things happen, yeah.
Right. I swear it wasn't there yesterday, too. I'm telling you, we looked at this, and it's just, there's somebody going in this at night and doing this. There has to be. It's like that missing sock, Somebody must have taken it. All right.
Just trying to see who's paying attention.
I like it. Thank you. All right. Next, high-need schools. So this is a language change from high needs to, let me pull that back down, to priority support school. So that is the language from HR on how they, what they're naming these schools. I believe there are 47 schools, either 47 or 49 schools on the approved list right now, and that allows teachers who have completed their probationary contract to transfer to one of these schools, as long as they're not already in one. But we're just changing the name from high needs to priority support. So this one is this is staffing for new schools. And as I mentioned in last session, we did open Blue Lake this year, and we came to agreement on an MOU with this language here that allowed us some flexibility in filling the final 1/3 of the vacancies, which was approximately 17 vacancies. And I just want to, so when I was in HR, I managed the UAT process for years. When I first came in, it was hundreds of excess. This last round of spring excess was 11 teachers, 11. 8 FTE, so some of those are just half-time, ESE positions are frequently, if they're 0.5, they might change and they might lose that, or fine arts might be half-time, something they may have purchased or that they can't anymore. So those are sometimes the reason why it's less FTE. But of those 11 people, 1 resigned, 1 took a full year of leave, and only 2 were secondary. So this upcoming year, we've got to staff a middle school and a high school. The average middle school is 75 teachers throughout our district. The average high school is 145. So a third of a high school is 48 positions, a third of a middle school is 25 positions. If we were to really hold off on that final third for excess placements, we would be telling you to wait, starting in May, first week of May. Oh, freeze is on. Wait until the end of this month, and then, because we're going to have UATs to place, and then we're going to say, well, by the way, we really don't have anybody to place. The previous year, so, this last year was 11. The previous year was 24. Only 10 were secondary level, and 13 of the 24 were core content areas, right? And that is the entire district. So these schools, wherever they are, you're not gonna, if they're in Boynton Beach or Lake Worth, you're not pulling an excess out of Jupiter and placing them down there. You're just not. There's nearby schools. We do make every effort, and I mean every effort, to avoid placing them, beyond, say, typically it was like 30 minutes. So in this is a real critical one for us, not a want. It's really, we feel it's operational necessity to us to be able to allow these schools to fill their vacancies so that they can open fully staffed. Otherwise, the teachers there are going to be having to pull extra weight and cover for vacancies. By the time you're able to hire, sometimes if you have to say, well, I have to wait, that final third, if you can't start hiring, let's say until June, chances are you're not picking from the absolute best candidates that are out there. That's a fact. You're also not picking from as big of an applicant pool as you would have if you were able to start earlier. And as you could see in this language, and we're open to some discussion on it, but all we were asking is that we allow more teachers in the district to voluntarily transfer, because it was limited to, the first third is feeder schools, the second third is voluntary transfer. The final third, we're okay if, there were transfers. If if teachers want to transfer into there, we want to give them that right. But we also want to say that if there's an external hire that they can make, they should be able to do it. And when we get to that UAT placement time, so, May comes and we shut down for UAT placements, we take a look at what's out there. If these schools have a vacancy, by all means, those excess are going there. That's without question. But we really do need to have some different language here, because this language is way out of date. It doesn't apply to the current state that we're in right now with teachers, hiring teachers. So I just wanted to clarify on that a little bit.
We get it.
I'm pretty passionate about this. Because I can't look at a principal and say, oh, you've got to wait, because it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. And it really hurts the teachers there. When you have, high quality people around you, you're going to do better work, most likely too. So that's all.
Yeah, we looked at this and we saw that, there could be a very big need as a result of having few UATs. I guess the only issue that we were looking at was, is it something we wanted to do permanently, or do we want to go ahead and do an MOU for the next upcoming year and kind of see how things go before we go and change hardcore language? That was, one of the things we were considering. However, in discussions, we feel that we could do this.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. All right, next item was, it's not Appendix H, it was Appendix E, so that was changed. This we're not ready to address yet. This was, instead of Article 9, it's 11, so we made that change. It was really just this up here was wrong, and then this part doesn't change. It's effective, in effect through June 30th, 2025. Here, we made, so appendix, we added appendix, let's see, appendix X, Y, wait, VXY, right? VXY A3 and A5. So these were all expired MOUs or somewhat of a duplicate MOU, right? Is that right? Okay, we good? The next one, these are no changes from the last round, right? No. This one was in case we weren't able to come to agreement on the contract language for the new schools, the need to extend. And this one, okay, so on this one, this was really just trying to adjust the numbering of the contract, but yeah, as we go through this, we're going to have to redo this, so I'm not going to spend any time on this just yet. It's going to continue to change as we shore up the MOUs that will continue or that will be added throughout the end of the contract. And that is it. Any questions on that?
No. Excuse me, in Appendix A1, did you get any chance to look at the timing of that? Because we were thinking about extending the MOU or making it contract language.
This was the professional
position.
development one?
Right.
So not that we have any interest of, there's no interest or anything like that to discontinue it at this time. It's just writing into language prohibits us from ever needing to change course or make any changes really to it. We feel that it's best done through maintaining an MOU. It's worked, and we just, never know how the needs might change or the position might change or something like that. I think writing in the contract is probably not in our best interest. So we think that, we'll continue with an MOU if that's what our preference would be there. But
right.
don't take that as anything other than just, I think, long-term, 5 years from now, we just want to, if it's in contract, then it's in there forever, and, getting it out is going to be would be hard to do.
Right, and I guess our position is, when we started out, it was a test kind of thing to see, how it could work and if it would be of benefit. I think, now that we've, put it in place, there is a lot of hardcore, serious professional development that's available for our teachers. We're meeting needs for those people who are coming in who are alternative certified, and also for beginning teachers. We're meeting some major needs, and we wouldn't want to have that, change, even if things change and you wanted to remove the position. That's one position we think we need to, to hold on to continue to grow our own, so to speak, so that we can continue to be fruitful in what we do. Right now, we're delving into a major effort in reading endorsement to make sure that, we're a part of the district's reading endorsement program so that we can offer alternative ways of obtaining reading endorsement to our teachers in the district. And so, and as a matter of fact, the professional development for us in our organization is probably, other than membership, is the largest amount of dollars we dedicate from our organization. And so it's a major important piece to us. It's kind of like you were saying about the, excuse me, the UAT issue. This is one of those that's near and dear to our hearts, and what we believe, in order for our teachers to continue to grow and do well, we need to have strong PD, and we need to have confidence that it's going to be there. So that's why we're asking. I mean, obviously, we've been able to meet agreement on it to extend it and move forward, so we understand that part. But we feel that this is something that's solid that we need to, put in place, and so that's why we asked that.
Sure. So again, I do want to reiterate that this, us requesting this, status quo isn't by any means something that suggests that we don't want to continue it. And there's no question we understand the value of it and, professional development for our teachers. So I will go back to the team to discuss a little further on what kind of options we might have. But I still do think that, keeping it as loose as possible is probably what's best. Just, we'll revisit it.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Did you have opportunity to look at our appendix A17 and A18?
Oh, yes, we did, and we are good with that.
Okay.
Given the comp time discussion, is there any objection to adding comp time to that, to the
Not at
purview
all.
of that committee?
Not at all. I think that's a good approach.
So we'll,
to-
we
to
could
the
either just
study.
literally TA the words comp time as part of the study, or whatever anyone's comfortable with, or we can come back and represent one with typed language.
I think we'll,
Yes.
well, I think we should keep it, I think we want to keep it separate. I think we should have a
Okay.
separate one, right? I think because it is a little different, right?
Okay.
So I think, but we are, definitely good
Okay.
with that,
So so we can put
approaching it in
one,
that
put
manner.
one together to
All
give
right.
you on that.
Perfect.
All right.
Any other questions on the items we've got?
I think we're good. We're good.
Good? Okay. Do you want to present, are you presenting yours, something?
We just did.
Okay, that was it, okay. All right.
Yeah, because the bulk of what we're talking about is in the next discussion, so.
In salaries,
Right,
right, sure.
right.
Okay, then I do have a separate copy here that we can TA any of the items that we've got. And yes, we do. If we can have about 5 minutes, we're going to print out the new one with, instead of new, for it to read current. Keep it clean as possible, so when we upload this, it's very clear to everybody. All right?
All right. Yeah, I do feel a little awkward, we're kind of not having a whole lot to challenge.
What is it? It's only been 35 minutes. That's a good thing, and I think our willingness to understand that we're all working towards the same goals here.
And I think it's important to say that, this is an example of what happens when you work together on issues, because we've been working together on issues all along. So it's not like we just started this. This
Right.
has been something that's been long run, and the process has been established so that we kind of understand how to go about, reaching out to each other and looking at each side. And even though, I'll still, push for my permanent PD position, but we always come to find agreement in a pleasant way.
Yep.
And so I really thank you for your coming in, and Jermaine, thank you for being there as well. We saw your fingerprints on the work today as well, so thank you very much. And so we look forward to continuing. Hopefully, things will be easier for us on salary.
Yes, I hope so too. And but yeah, no, thank you guys. Same to your side. Us working together, you'll find no opposition to continuing that going forward. That's how we're going to be able to get things done. So we'll take a brief caucus to make some changes to this document and come back.
All right.
To TA. Sound good? Okay. Morrison. Oh, is it based on this one? No, it's based in his. They're online in there, right? I'll leave it. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I won't need it anymore. We're all set. Thank you. We're gonna close it up. I'm just gonna go back on the record so those who are on. Okay. All right, we cleaned up our copies so that we can review them for in TA. So I just wanted to come back from break, since we do have some people who are on the call listening in. Just to say that, we'll be wrapping up. Again, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate working together on this. And so we're going to go through the articles that we've agreed to and TA them. And then we'll see you all at the next session, which I believe is September 9th. Sound good? Okay. Thank you very much.